Ba, 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 Good morning, Bravehearts, and good morning, Garfield, New Jerusalem. Welcome back to Marv in the Morning. It is I, Marv, the producer, the owner, and creative director of Bravery Studios over here. How we doing today, Bravehearts? It's Mondo Foggy here in Garfield today, bro. It was like Silent Hill out there when I was getting to the studio. Yo, it's Mondo Foggy over here. Yeah, it would make sense. It was raining all day yesterday, so we got the London fog out there. Shout out to Big Daddy Alucard in the chat. He said, "What's up, dude? What's up, Big Daddy Alucard? How you living, brother? This is Marv in the Morning, episode 31. 31, baby. We made it. Wasn't supposed to make it past 25, but we did it over here in Bravery Studios. We do it. We make it happen, man. So yeah, episode 31. Today's topic is: are there too many podcasts? Are there just a bit too many of these podcasts out there? It's a common question, so we're going to answer it. We're going to talk about it. Timestamps are in the description. If you're watching post live, you can skip ahead to the meat and potatoes, but I got a couple things to talk about before we get there. Just a few things that we need to cover, because especially since I didn't go live yesterday. Yo, man, I mean, stayed up pretty late in the studio, like Sunday night, right? Got to network and meet some Mondo righteous people, and it was worth it. But let me tell you, man, if I stay up past 1:00, I am not waking up the next morning. Grandpa Marv over here, definitely. If I stay up past 1:00, my next morning is shot. So I gotta be very careful. It comes with age, man. You just get older, bro. You just how you call it? You can't do it like you used to. And I'm used to being full of energy. I'm used to like staying up all night, rocking and rolling, till the sun comes up. It kind of wumps, you gotta get older. You gotta play it safe. You can't party like you used to, that's for sure. But we're in here. We made it today, that's for sure, baby. And Marv in the Morning is back. And yo, since I didn't go live yesterday, I gotta talk to you about this weekend. I had a Mondo righteous weekend. All the jazz that happened this weekend was Mondo righteous, for sure. First off, the Ladies of Bravery event went down. It was beautiful. It was a success. It was awesome. A very intimate night. There was like 30 people, maybe 20 to 30 people about. And yeah, man, the No Filter podcast went up there and did their thing. Brittany was there of the Spiritual Tip podcast. Unfortunately, Akina couldn't make it, but Brittany was there holding it down. And, they did a great job. Those girls went up right after them. A lot of relationship talk, a lot of dirty laundry was spilled. For sure. Marv went from gnarly Marv to Uncle Marv in an instant. And look, my freaking gauge fell out over here. Look at this. This is embarrassing. Nah, it happens. What are you going to do? It happens, right? It definitely happens. But yeah, dude, Uncle Marv can't do it like gnarly Marv used to. No more hurrahs in the middle of the night. Yeah, that's for sure. But Ladies of Bravery event, beautiful night. Shout out to everybody that pulled up. We definitely have to do more of those. We got Darth Messiah in the building. Bravery up. Darth Messiah is in here. Shout out to him. I'll be seeing him later today. And yeah, man, I gotta do more live podcast shows in here. This was awesome. You gotta set up maybe about 30 people. You don't want the crowd to be too large, because then you get little small conversations in the background and whatnot, right? But yeah, nice little intimate event. The ladies did their thing. The crowd did their thing, because of course during a live podcast you get the crowd interacting with you and everything like that. So yeah, of course that was a beautiful thing, man. It just was a good night. Shout out to those girls. Shout out to No Filter. Shout out to the Spiritual Tip, for all three of them dedicating time to this. Promoting it and getting people to come to buy tickets, to just take part in the night. It was a beautiful night. It's a beautiful night, and more to come. More live podcasts to come for sure. More live shows to come. Let's talk about Live from Bravery Studios, the podcast series where I interview among the righteous people. I've been talking to everybody and networking and venturing out and interviewing people from all over. The King Lex interview dropped on Saturday, and I was there watching it. Listening to it. It was audio only. That's how it's going to be sometimes. I think there's sometimes that it just works out better if I'm not conscious of like the cameras and like all the tech, where my mind is like only focused on the conversation. It's a lot easier to manage audio than it is video. And since I was traveling, I was at my old location in Clifton. That's where Bravery Studios started, or transformed to Bravery Studios there. And got to chop it up with King Lex, man. And King Lex, man, I love that guy, bro. King Lex has looked out for me like you guys can't imagine. And Darth was in the comments like, I can already smell those hallways. Yeah, those hallways, they party up in there as always, for sure, man. But most of all, they create magic. They create art up there. And I miss being there and being part of that community. And for sure, King Lex was accommodating. We chopped it up. We had like a 2-hour conversation. Yes, Scarlett in the chat. How you doing, lovely? Yeah, me and King Lex, I was overdue for that conversation. And it gave me kind of closure. Because I did feel a little bit of guilt, the way we left. Lex has looked out for me like you can't imagine, man. Like, like I said in the video, they gave us probably one of the best spaces in that building. We had our own private bathroom. We had 2 rooms. I demolished the wall and put a window in it. Like, yeah, we did some good stuff up there and some great memories for sure. For sure, some great memories up there. And it was crazy going back. It was crazy going back and seeing it. What happens on the 3rd floor stays on the 3rd floor. Facts. That 3rd floor. But I'm gonna be visiting there more often, and I'm gonna be doing some business with Lex soon. Definitely want to stay connected to him because Lex is an amazing soul, and like I said and if you watch the episode, most of the people in that building came through King Lex. So he's an awesome networking person. He's awesome for building community. The man builds community, and I think he doesn't give himself enough credit for what he has built. He's built an amazing community up there, over there in Clifton at Factory Productions. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about Lex, man. I was teary-eyed doing that interview with him, and the story he told me, it did give me a lot of closure. I wanted to make sure me and him were good. I wanted to make sure that, we still have that brotherhood, because me and King Lex used to kick it like it was 1999. We used to kick it for sure. We used to definitely kick it like it was 1999, and it's 1999 forever. You know what I'm saying? That's for a fact. So yeah, shout out to King Lex, and check out the interview if you missed it. If you missed it, it's the King Lex interview live from Bravery Studios. Good time overall. And then over the weekend, I interviewed Casey Gonzalez. He's the Salty Chef on Instagram. If you go check him out, ramen dude. This man is becoming an underground legend in the ramen world, with only letting you fulfill orders certain days of the week, creating a supply and demand cycle, a hype cycle for when he is cooking and when he is not, getting people to be like, oh, I gotta order now, because if I don't order now, I'm not gonna be able to get it for the rest of the week. And it's genius marketing. The man is doing genius marketing. Let me show you his page over here. And this counts as the daily shout out for today too, man. Like, this guy doing his thing. He had a goal of getting to 1,000 bowls. He achieved it, of course. And yeah, great time talking to Mondo Cocky. Definitely a Jersey dude for sure, because Mondo Cockiness came out of this guy over here. And yeah, man, he's working towards building a brick and mortar shop, so that's gonna be coming soon. He's looking for like a Hackensack location, which we talked about. It was great interviewing him, and a lot more foodie interviews coming soon. Definitely want to get into the food world over here. And he told me, yo, you got a stove in here, man. We could whip something up in here. We could do some cool jazz in here. So I'm actually debating. I'm like, man, maybe I gotta get a stove for the studio. I just gotta figure out what's the legalities of it, you know. Definitely an electric stove, so that way we don't have to mess around with the gas lines or anything. But yeah, man, gotta get in the mix. Gotta get in the mix over here. For sure, for sure. But awesome talking to him. Learning a lot about ramen. I didn't know how much salt ramen they put in ramen. And he was talking to me about, the fact that now I want ramen. Shout out to Jason Enrique in the chat over here, in the Brave chat. Yeah, dude. So he was telling me about how, some places they put way too much salt on the ramen, which is extremely bad for you. And he makes it as healthy as possible while retaining flavor. You know, someone's palate might be kind of tarnished by going to other fast food ramen spots and then like you're used to eating ramen that is so salty and so bad for you. And he was just talking about how he makes his ramen with with a conscious thought of health. Like he's like thinking of your health when he's making his ramen. So yeah, man, great talk. Learned a lot about food. Learned a lot about ramen. Learned a lot about the hype cycle, creating a hype cycle. I think that's genius what he does, how he orders, how he makes his ramen. So yeah, check him out. Check him out on Instagram. Once again, it's chefsalty.kc. Please follow this man and order your ramen while you can. He's gonna be in Nutley, New Jersey this week. I believe he told me he's gonna be in Nutley, New Jersey, and he actually lives pretty close to the studio. So he's gonna be popping his head in from time to time. He's bringing me a bowl this week of his famous ramen. His ramen it's called Tenmomi Ramen. That's the name of his ramen page. If you want to check out his ramen page as well, he's killing it up here, man. He's killing it. He's killing it. That's for sure. So yeah, check him out, guys. Check him out. Side note: Top Ramen still slaps to this day. I haven't tried Top Ramen. I've been to Ani Ramen, and I've been to. I think that's it. I haven't been to too many ramen shops. I won't even lie to you. I went to Ani and I love it over there. I don't know the quantities of salt they put in their ramen. I would imagine it'd be a lot since their ramen. I don't know. I don't know. I gotta check out more ramen spots. But honestly, I'm chilling with Casey now, man. So I'm gonna be getting just Casey ramen. The Tenmami ramen, and I'm cool with that. To be honest with you, I could kick it with just that. So yeah, man. Shout out to Casey Gonzalez, bro. And like I said, follow him. Check the man out. He's doing legendary jazz over here. And brick and mortar coming soon. Brick and mortar coming soon. So that was my I believe it was a Thursday or Friday interview. I think I interviewed him on Friday. And then on Saturday, I got to interview Lorenita La Poeta. Another childhood friend. I've been connecting with a lot of people from like my childhood, and it was really cool. We got really spiritual up in there. I don't consider myself a spiritual person. I believe there's something out there, man. There's some kind of magic in the air that gives me strength and energy to continue, but I don't know too much about it. She was explaining to me about what my beads mean, and I buy stuff because it looks cool, man. I don't know nothing about no Anubis and the Valkyries and all that jazz, Yo, I'm talking the old school 25-cent packs. Oh, you talking about? Darv, you're bugging right now, bro. Yo, the ramen community will hang you for these comments. I'm sorry, but Ani Ramen is overrated to me. Yo, I don't have anything else to compare it to, so you're probably right, Jay. I don't know. Give me a good ramen spot, but it would have to be approved by my boy over here, Casey, for sure. But back to Lorenita La Poeta. Like I said, man, she's a poet. She's spiritualist. She does yoga. She does. It felt so therapeutic speaking to this girl, and I mean, I've known her since I was like 12, man. So wow, we're gonna continue to have this issue, and I'm gonna have to figure something out about this, because this is the story of a girl. Do 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 do. These things right here. Oh, now I gotta fix the focus too because it came out of focus. Chacho, brother, if it's not one thing, it's another. Marv got all the fire. He burned out the battery. Yo, these things right here go fast. These little tiny things right here go so fast. And at the cost of quality, just because I want my image to look beautiful, I have to deal with these tiny things that battery dies out in like half an hour. So setting up the show means dealing with this thing, and I gotta like have it on while I'm setting up, and that setup time kills the battery. So I have to change the battery like a minute before showtime. I gotta get a plug-in powered one. Podcast is too much power. Yeah, man. Back to Lorraine though. Lorenita la Poeta. Great time. She was teaching me breathing exercises. We were talking about therapy. We were talking about what she's been through in her life. I could not imagine that she had been through so much. And she used to podcast here. And I didn't know why she stopped. And yesterday I found out. I sure as jazz found out. And it was great talking to her. Great talking to her. Great time. Learned a lot. And I had to do some breathing exercises. I had never done breathing exercises, but the whole... that in itself can get you high. That in itself. I definitely felt euphoric doing that with her on Saturday. So great time. Look for that interview. This Saturday's interview that's coming out is with Tomorrow Never Promised. So Tomorrow Never Promised, great time, great show. That's coming out Saturday. Rock and roll, dark grunge. It's happening. Then the next week after, we have Casey. Then the next week after, Lorraine. I got so many interviews. And this is what I was going to talk about mainly, right? I might have to start switching to dropping 2 episodes a week, or I'm not going to get these interviews out until the end of next year because I've got so many interviews lined up. And I'm recording like 3 of them a week. 3 of them like a week. So, you know, I gonna have to figure something out there with that. Gonna have to definitely figure something out there with that. But yeah, great time interviewing both of them. That's a daily shout out for sure. Let's hop, skip, and jump into the meat and potatoes of this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hop, skip, and jump. Are there too many podcasts? Sometimes when I tell people that I have a podcast studio and I you know, sometimes, you know, tell them, hey, you should start a podcast. You know, you do a lot of great talking. You seem to know a lot about what you're saying. All the jazz is in your mind. Why don't you start a podcast? A common response that I get is, yo, there's too many podcasts. Everybody has one. And no one thinks there stinks. But is it true? Are there really too many podcasts? Is that really something that should be of concern? Should we be worried that, like, hey, everybody has one now? This is becoming an oversaturated space. I did some research on this. I still have the page open because, you know, wanted to discuss it over here, right? For sure. So let's go over to the facts. Let's go over to what we were looking at. And, of course, my page closes on me. Yeah, let's just type it up. Are there too many podcasts? What you got to say, Google? What you got to say about that? Yeah. If I could find the page that I was actually on. You know, you got to be prepared for these things. Let's see. Are there too many podcasts? New stats, statistics, and why. And of course, now I can't find the page I was on. Oversaturation is a real thing, but that's where niche plays a part. I guess so. Are there too many podcasts? If I could find where it was. All right. Well, let's try this article and see. Yeah, this actually was the article. Lucky me over here. Hey. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Are there too many podcasts? Let's check out what this article has to say. This is from the Audacity to Podcast website. Okay? These are not my words. These are not my truths, but these are truths that I find interesting and, would like to discuss. Okay? Saturation is a matter of perspective is the first note they have here. There are now more than 800,000 podcasts and more industry stats. For more information behind my podcast industry statistics site. Okay, well, that's a little whatever. But 800,000 podcasts, right? According to the top results in Google, there are more than 31 million YouTube channels. Okay, this is what I wanted to get at too. There are more than 31 million YouTube channels. There are more than 97 million songs. There are more than 140 million books. There are more than 600 million blogs. Okay, I'm going to repeat that again because this is what's crucial about this. There are too many podcast statements, right? There are more than 31 million YouTube channels. Okay, keep that in mind. This is not even talking about podcasting. This is more YouTube channels, just YouTube channels alone. There are more than 97 million songs. Now we're talking about music, right? There are more than 140 million books. There's actually more books in existence than there is songs. I'm actually surprised about that. That's actually a surprising thing. I didn't know that. There are 600 million blogs. I don't think I've ever read a blog, or maybe I have, but blogging beats everything. There's 600 million blogs, right? There are new podcasts getting created every day. A lot of those podcasts that get made every day never make it past episode 1. They never make it past episode 1. So for all the millions and millions of podcasts out there, there is a very small percentage of podcasts that actually continue past episode 1. If the concern is just the existence of another podcast, then it shouldn't really be a concern if these podcasts are not existing past their first episode. That's the first thing. Right? So, not all podcasts are active. Not all podcasts are consistent. Your niche is much smaller. And that's the most key thing, and it's even what Darth wrote there. Oversaturation is a real thing, but that's where your niche comes in. And I say niche and niche. I say it differently every time I say it. So bear with me not being able to have a consistent way of saying the word niche. Please bear with me. Right? Your niche is much smaller. Your podcast could do what others don't, can't, or won't. And there will always be ways to innovate. These are the key things that they're putting here on this list here. Right? Key things. These are key things. So yeah. Even though so many podcasts exist, a very, very minute percentage of those existing podcasts make it past episode 1. The statistic that I've heard before in the past, and I don't have the reference to it to be able to claim it for sure, is that 60% of all the podcasts that are on Apple haven't uploaded a new episode in 6 months. I will repeat that. 60% of all of the podcasts that are on Apple Podcasts have not uploaded a new episode in 6 months. The average for a podcast is the average run for a podcast is 3 months. If a podcast can make it past 3 months, they're usually going to stick around. That usually counts here in the studio too. When someone signs up for a membership and they are a brand new podcast, they're starting from scratch, I know that the first 3 months, if they make it past that they're going to be in it for the long run. They're going to be in the podcast game for the long run. Most podcasts do not make it past the first 3 months. Most of them. Okay. Once again, just the thought process that, there's a million of them out there. Okay, but how many are consistent? How many of them are still uploading? How many of them are actually in competition for the attention that you are trying to gain with your podcast? Hey, I'm going to listen to the Ultra Hills Wrestling podcast, or I'm going to go listen to this wrestling podcast that only has one episode and hasn't uploaded in 6 months. You're concerned with podcasts that can't even upload, can't even hold a consistent schedule, can't even follow the episode 1 of this Marv in the Morning show, right? Key things there. Key things to keep in mind. Key things to keep in mind. Right? Very key things. Now, if you really, really think about creatives in this world, and you really give yourself thought, like musicians, bloggers, apparently there's a lot of those as well, which I learned today. Movie directors, movie creators, creatives in general. If the thought process that someone like Steven Spielberg would have had when he was creating like Jaws, should I make a movie? Everybody's making a movie now. Why should I bother making a movie? Because you have a vision, and your vision is unique to you. And your vision, if it does something that someone else doesn't do, then you're not really in competition with all these other movies that exist. The example I give with Spielberg is that he created the Hollywood blockbuster. He invented the hype season for movies in the summer. So he made a whole new lane for himself. For him and George Lucas, even just think about with music. If the thought process was like, hey, I'm not going to create rock and roll because there's a bunch of rock and roll bands out there. Everyone wants a rock band. Where would we be if Kurt Cobain thought that way? Where would we be if Linkin Park thought that way? These are all very saturated fields. Everyone in their mom's garage was playing guitar maybe 20 years ago. Think about rap and think about how many people are attempting to become musicians, rappers, right? Hip hop artists. Think about how crowded that space really is. If you count every single individual in their mother's garage, or actually not garages. Are they rapping in garages? I don't know. They're probably just doing it in their closet. Every rapper in their closet trying to rap. If we counted every single person on planet Earth that was trying to be a rapper, then you would have a very saturated field as well. The tools to create a podcast, the sites, the apps and all that counts these numbers of uploads and whatnot, creates an extreme an extreme vision of the oversaturation of the market, right? Basement rappers. Creates an extreme vision of it. But realistically, your concern should not be with how many exist, but how many are doing what you are doing. All right. If I am a hip hop podcast, then I need to be concerned with what's my niche and how many podcasts I'm competing with. And I need to add some more sub niches to my niche, right? Some sub niches in there. That way I am not entering an oversaturated field. It's like a barbershop competing with a hair salon. Barbershops and hair salons don't compete with each other, right? Well, maybe they do nowadays. I don't know for sure. But realistically, if you're a barbershop, you're not worried about a hair salon being across the street. And in some cases, it might actually help your business to be, the husband goes to the barbershop, the wife goes to the hair salon together. They just walk out, meet together. Sometimes they exist in the same brick and mortar. But the point I'm trying to make is both the barbershop and the salon have their niche. One is for men, one is for women. Might intermingle, nowadays, we're a very progressive society. It could intermingle, but for the most part, they still have their own niches. Now, if I'm not a barbershop podcast, if I am a podcast about cars, I don't need to worry about the podcast about the news. We're in different spaces. Now I only need to really worry about the podcast about cars and how many exist out there and how many are doing what I'm doing and what am I bringing different to the table? What are you bringing different to the table? That's where your concern should mainly lie. Not in how many, but how many are doing what you're doing. That is where your concern should ultimately lie. for a fact. You know, and like I said, if every great artist that we've ever known in existence went into it with the thought process that everyone else is doing this, why should I? Then we would be at a loss of a lot of great art. We'd be at a big loss. A big loss. Okay. This article is from Hypebot. This is a website called hypebot.com. A new report sheds an alarming light on a number of podcasts in existence. But should the rising show count deter you from launching something new? Okay, here are some more statistics for you. Many podcasts never have a second episode. They start and die overnight. They start and die overnight. Many podcasts, wait, I see them right here. Those 800,000 podcasts cover over hundreds of thousands of topics. Hundreds of thousands of topics. Hear that again. Those 800,000 podcasts cover hundreds of thousands of topics. Not every podcast is available on every platform. Also, something to consider there. Not every podcast is available in every country. Another thing to consider. And final bullet point here is all or most of those podcasts do not feature you. You are not in that podcast, right? You are not in that podcast. Music podcasting is mainly non-artists talking about artists they love. Musicians and groups using podcasting to engage and develop their community are far rarer, and that's a shame. Well, I guess the article is discussing really, it's mainly tethered towards more music-based podcasts. But essentially, yeah, this is what they're saying. Podcasts are here to say, many have known that for years, but the long-form audio medium continues to find new listeners with each passing week. Musicians, artists, experts, and random everyday humans from all corners of the earth are creating shows that cover every topic imaginable, and several are finding massive success along the way. We've told you to start one before, and we still believe you should. But a new article has some creators thinking twice about their future in podcasting. According to Chartable, there are more than 17,000 new podcasts launched every week in 2020. 17,000 podcasts a week. A week. That amounts to more than 800,000 new podcasts for the year. Now we know what you're thinking. That's a lot of podcasts. We felt the same way at first. But then we considered a few data points that Chartable reports does now. And let me reiterate, many podcasts don't make it past episode 2. They start and they die overnight. And that's essentially the brass tacks of it. That's essentially the brass tacks of it. Don't concern yourself with how many are doing it. Concern yourself with how many are doing what you're doing, the way you're doing it. Be concerned about having a niche, standing out, targeting a market, targeting something in the industry that is not being targeted. Be concerned with standing out. That's pretty much the gist of it. That is the gist of it. Be concerned with standing out. And I don't know how much more I can tell you. Like I said, if every creative out there went into something with a thought process like too many people exist in this field, then we would be at a loss of a lot of great art. If Jay-Z said there was too many rappers, if Nas said that, if Drake said that, where would we be? Where would we be if someone took the head count of everyone in every household that is attempting to become a rapper? Where would we be? Do I think you should create a podcast? Do I think podcasts should still be created? They will be with or without my opinion, right? But yeah, if you have something to say and you have something to offer, something of value. People listen to podcasts that bring value to their lives, right? I hope that my podcast sheds light on people trying to start a podcast or people that are continuing to do a podcast. that is what is in the back of my mind. I hope I am bringing value to what you are trying to do. Now, if you have a podcast that does not bring any value to people's lives, you're not making them laugh, you're not teaching them anything, you are not doing anything different, you are just going up on there and talking about whatever every week, then yeah, you might not be bringing value to people's lives, and you might be part of the desert of podcasts that go on the internet that nobody finds, that you're just buried under the algorithm. You are so beneath the algorithm's attention that you are in this ninth circle, right, where podcasts just exist, but no one can ever find them because you do not have a niche. You are not saying anything differently. You are not targeting anyone. Yeah, that's just the gist of it. He's been doing great with it. Yep, tell me about it. But yeah, Bravehearts, that's the brass tacks. Stand out. Do something different. Be creative. And have a niche, for Christ's sake. How many weeks do I have to say this? Have a niche, bro. Target somebody over here. But thank you guys. Thank you for listening. A lot of tech diffs this stream. But we're rocking and rolling, baby. Be on the lookout. A lot of great interviews coming this week. A lot of great content coming out of Bravery Studios in general. Working on a lot of big projects. If you've been reaching out to me and I have not been so quick to respond, it's because I have a million things I'm juggling over here. But I do love you, whoever you are. And it's hard to keep focus. I've come to a realization that our phones are like just the absolute worst. Right? How did it take you so long to figure that out, Marv? Yeah, well, as convenient they make life is as complicated. With my phone ringing every 5 seconds for an alert, it's hard to stay focused on the goals. But I'm learning to be detached from it a little more. Learning to be a little more detached from it, and learning to focus and really own in on these goals of mine that I'm trying to achieve. For sure. But it's a double-edged sword. Because, geez, how can you survive without this thing? How can you even do marketing? How can you even reach out to people and network without it, right? Yeah, so double-edged sword there. But either way, big things on the horizon, for sure. Great interviews coming. I'm booked up like 3 interviews a week all the way to like December right now. And I might take December off. Not from Marv in the Morning, because this is a little easier to maintain. I don't have to coordinate with guests. But from Live from Bravery Studios interviews, I have enough interviews to last me till next year. So might just take a little break right there in December for the interviewing people and get picked back up in January. But thanks for watching, everybody. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I mondo appreciate that. And we'll be back tomorrow. More Marv in the Morning. So Bravehearts, stay brave and keep on keeping on.